Today, I want to talk about camera modes. And now, when we think of camera modes, we probably think of two camera modes. We think of auto and manual. And if you're a beginner, you're shooting in auto. If you're a professional, you're shooting in manual. But what if I were to tell you that manual mode isn't all it's cracked up to be? I know, it does sound crazy, but to be honest with you, it's just not always convenient. And what if there was a bit of a mode in between auto and manual that still gave you a really solid amount of control, but you didn't always have to worry about changing every setting? Well, today I want to talk to you about that exact mode because it does exist, and it's called aperture priority mode. So without further ado, let's dive into aperture priority mode. Okay, so first things first, you need to know what aperture is. Now, aperture isn't a camera setting, believe it or not. It's actually a lens setting. If you have a look at the lens you have right now, let's say it's a 50mm lens, it'll be 50mm and then an F number. Now that F number represents the lowest minimum aperture that your lens can go down to. And usually bigger and more expensive lenses will have a smaller minimum F number, and cheaper and smaller lenses, if you will have a larger minimum F number. And that's because the smaller that aperture can go, two things happen. You let more light into your camera, which means you can shoot with a faster shutter speed and a lower ISO, which sometimes is great. And then also it gives you that beautiful out of focus blurry background. So right now, this image that you're seeing, this is a shot on a 50mm f1.8. And this out of focus background behind me is f1.8. This, in my opinion, looks great. I love shooting with low apertures. It makes me pop way harder from the frame, which is ideal. And this is very, very sought after in the photography industry. All right, guys, so now I'm gonna head out into the field with my good friend Luca. We're gonna go shoot the sunrise, and let's go play around with aperture priority mode. All right, so here we are out at a little secret beach. This place is actually called Secret Beach. But anyway, I wanted to bring you guys out here with my good friend Luca to kind of show you exactly how AV mode works. And pretty much the best part about this is shooting in a situation like this where the sun is coming up, so you're going from dark to bright fairly quickly, and the camera is updating the settings for you. You just get to choose the aperture. So for example, if I'm taking a shot of Luca, of course, I want him to pop from the image. So I'm gonna be using an aperture like f2, but then when I head out to the ocean and see what else is out there, it's more of a landscape vibe, well, I'm gonna be shooting with like f4, f5, f6.3, and the best part about that is the camera is gonna compensate the other settings for me, and I don't need to think about it. You partner that up with something like auto white balance, and you are really cooking with gas. But anyway, guys, I wanted to bring you out here. It's a beautiful morning here, and I actually fly to Dubai this evening. So it's my last morning here in Bali, and yeah. But anyway, I wanted to just give you guys a little bit of an insight of exactly how aperture priority mode works, and that's pretty much it. So anyway, let's head back to the studio. All right, so why do you only want to control the aperture and not the shutter speed and the ISO? Well, for a few reasons, and you still half control the shutter speed. So first of all, let's talk about ISO. ISO is going to fluctuate up and down. And if your camera can range between, let's say, 1 to 1600 ISO without putting too much noise, especially into the shadows, then this setting is absolutely great. Aperture priority mode is 100% for you, right? It's pretty much working on auto aperture. Your camera is just going to increase the aperture when it needs to and decrease it when it doesn't. And then you've got shutter speed. Now, shutter speed is an interesting one because a really low shutter speed is going to add a whole lot of blur to your images. And if you're shooting handheld, this is far from ideal, especially if you're also shooting moving subjects and you want to be able to freeze life. You want to be able to freeze that motion. Well, what you can do is you can dive into your camera, and of course every camera is going to be different, but you can dive into your camera and set a minimum shutter speed. So for example, let's say you're going out about at nighttime and you want to set a minimum shutter speed to 1/50 or 1/60, you can do so. And that means your camera will not go below 1/50 or 1/60, whatever you set it to make sure that you're always going to be taking somewhat sharp photos. Now this can be increased or decreased or not even set. In my opinion, I leave mine at 1/60 because if I'm shooting with any lens, if I'm shooting with my 24-70 that's stabilized, 1/50 will usually always give me sharp shots. If I'm shooting with a tele lens like my 70-200, I'll probably leave that at a minimum of 1/125 or 1/200. That's just how it goes to make sure my handshake is not getting introduced into my photos as blur. Now, of course, your camera is just going to increase or decrease your shutter speed when it needs to. And the way that your camera knows when and when not to increase or decrease is by you setting this one other setting. So you set your aperture to whatever you like. It can be f1.8 if your lens can go down to it, and then everything you shoot is going to be shot at f1.8, and your camera can just compensate with the ISO and the shutter speed. Perfect. And then you also are going to have to tell your camera what exposure you want it to be at. So let's say, for example, you just wanted to be a really nice and even exposure. Well, you want to make sure you're setting your meter to just straight in the middle, and that's it. If you want it to be a little bit darker, maybe you're taking photos in the daytime and you don't want that bright blue sky to be overexposed, well then maybe you want to be shooting one stop underexposed. Or let's say you're shooting an event, shooting at night, whatever the case, and you want it to be a little bit brighter than what the camera might be thinking is spot on exposure, or maybe you want to be 0.3 or 0.7 stops higher than accurate exposure. And this way you just dial in your exposure, you dial in your aperture, and more or less you're good to go. Now, I just wanted to add this little extra part at the end of the video talking about the amount of high-end professional photographers I know that shoot in aperture priority mode. I'm serious, guys. This mode isn't just an auto mode for beginners. It's honestly going to teach you so much about your camera, your aperture, your ISO, and your shutter speed. But it's also going to make you a way better photographer because you'll be able to capture so many more moments and not have to worry about, oh, is it too bright? Is it too dark? Is my shutter speed too high? Is my ISO too high? Whatever the case, you can just set your aperture and then go and have a great time shooting. And that's pretty much it, guys. That is going to wrap up today's video. If you're new around here, a subscribe would mean the absolute world. But before you do, actually, no, go and definitely subscribe. But before you do, guys, in the link down below in the description, I am about to launch a course. Now, I know a lot of people launch courses, but this is going to be an absolute everything you need to know, from taking average looking photos or beginner looking photos to absolutely smashing it out the park and absolutely nail. So guys, that is going to wrap up today's video, and I just want to let you in on a little bit of a secret. If you guys go and click the first link in the description below and sign up to my email newsletter, you guys will be the first people to access something very, very special that is coming soon, and I know you'll be very keen on it. So I'm not going to let any spoilers come out. Just go and click first link in the description. That's all you need to do. Thank you very much. Go and sign up to that email newsletter. It'll make my day, and it'll definitely make yours in about a month or so. So keep your eyes peeled. But anyway, that's going to wrap up today's video. If you have enjoyed, let me know down below in the comments. If you're new around here, a subscribe would mean the absolute world. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Peace.